underwear, yes. Definitely the Christmas gift that you give to kids.
Yeah.
Because it's necessary and it fills
You
space.
got some, yes. What else? Candy.
Candy. Okay.
When they were growing up, they like
toothbrushes.
Huh?
I thought about that. I thought about doing toothbrush and toothpaste this year, but I don't know if that's a little too practical.
Well, we did toothbrushes, toothpaste, socks, underwear, deodorant, batteries. Oh my God, batteries.
Yeah, that's a smart one.
Yes,
that's a smart one because we always forget batteries.
Flashlights. Every now and then I'd find these neat little flashlights. Hi, everybody. And then back to candy. So
back to candy. We always do the big long stick, the candy cane stick, but the big fat one.
Yep, with M&Ms.
No, not the filled ones. The actual peppermint stick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, get them at like the dollar store or something, like $1 a piece, and they're about yay long, and it's perfect for the stocking.
Mm-hmm.
I used to lick and chew on that thing until I got into a point, and then I would stick my brother with the point.
That's horrible.
Joshua, we were talking about you before the show. I didn't do the TikTok with the peanut stance. He's gonna swear at me now.
I'm Mrs. Claus today.
Yes.
Since we're so close to Christmas, I'm trying to get into the Christmas spirit. So I'll be playing Mrs. Claus today. And I think Joe's going to be playing Santa.
Woo, ho, ho, ho.
Of course, the beard hasn't grown in yet.
Does that make me real?
We're just messing with you. Joe, you are our special guest this week, and it is your birthday tomorrow. So everybody in the audience, make sure you say a happy birthday to Joe. He is not only a good friend of the show, but he's also the godfather of the indie publishing family. He's brought so many people together. So we love Joe. So everybody give him a good happy birthday.
Hello, everybody.
As he's like turning beet red, going, why did you do that?
Because we need to put the spotlight on you.
That's right. That's right. And for those of you out there, this is Spilling Ink. We are the talk show that takes you behind the book to meet the authors and professionals in the publishing industry. And this is our end of the year review. So all topics are on the table and you never know what we're going to say next, right?
Right.
We're already getting the happy birthdays. I love it. Happy birthday, Joe. Are you feeling good this year?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, 2022 was still a dumpster fire, but it was a smaller dumpster fire than 2021, I think. Maybe
2021 has been a weird year. It really has.
Yeah, I mean, 2021 was a smaller dumpster fire than 2020. See, I'm already going ahead.
He's next year already. Thanks. Now we all know what we're looking forward to. It's a great dumpster fire. Good job.
No, 2021 was a smaller dumpster fire than 2020, but it had its ebbs and flows, I think.
Definitely. It also felt, at least to me, and tell me if you guys feel the same way, it felt like 2021 blew past at warp speed. Like, I don't remember the time passing through the year. It feels like it was just yesterday that we were doing last year's end of the year show, and all of a sudden we're doing it again, and it's been a blur. I know things have happened, but it's been such a blur how fast we've moved through this year.
I think once I got to August, I felt that way. And I think that was more because of anticipation of October. And then once we got back from our trip in October, I felt like I was like, all of a sudden now it's December 18th. What the hell? Yeah. But like earlier in the year, I didn't feel like that. I felt like it was kind of slow, actually.
Okay. Jane, how about you? How was this year for you?
Well, at the day job, we had a major project so the first half of the year was like a whirlwind. The summer went slow because there was no real projects because we were in, the after major project before the next major project picked up. So the summer was really slow. And then the fall just went in a blink.
Okay. There were events this year. I'm struggling to reach back and think of what all had happened. I know there were different events that went on this year, and Joe, October was really, October was so nice to be able to coordinate, to actually get out there and meet with so many of our indie friends It was such a good, worthwhile experience. And I hope we're able to continue that as a tradition.
Me too.
Yeah, next time I'll have to visit family.
We're stubbornly blocking out the year, according to Anita. I like that. There's like some kind of a mental block that's going on. I think she's right. Like something was off about this year. More so than
I think everybody has COVID fatigue and mask fatigue, and I think there was a lot of that this year. And it's just like, and then we get to normal, and then we take 2 steps forward, we take 1 step backwards, and it's kind of like, and then we're fighting amongst each other. We're being polarizing to each other, and I think that turns the screws a little bit. So I think there's a lot of it's just a lot of turmoil right now, and I think nobody's doing a good enough job to settle it down. So
that's because we're not in the same space all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that bodes not well for like the corporate world. If you're in the office every day, you're cordial, even if you're disagreeing on things. But when you're laughing at me, but
I like that.
Yeah, you're respectful and cordial and talking through the differences of ideas and things like that. But it's almost like we've lost some of that. Being segregated the way we have,
there's an element to that because the anonymity of the internet allows trolls to get away with saying whatever they want. And you're right, the working from home, I think for a great majority kind of lends to that sort of feel.
I think so.
It's an interesting theory.
You're less of an editor of what's coming out of your mouth.
Well, we're creatures of comfort and habit too, especially in America. We're creatures of comfort and habit, and so if you're telling me I'm staying home for the entire 2020, and then you're telling me in 2021 I have to go back to work and have to get, it's like that took some adjusting for a lot of people to do that. I mean, I had already been doing that, so I wasn't that never bothered me, but it's we got to a point where we didn't have to wear masks for a little bit, and that was like glorious. And then that lasted like a week, and then we were back to it. And now we're like totally masked up everywhere we go again, and like nobody's even talking about whether or not there's going to be a chance to be unmasked. And so I think people are just kind of like, okay, start, stop, and it's kind of it keeps on ebbing and flowing for people, and they don't know how to handle it. So.
Right.
Let's explore some of that too, especially because we're all creative. So in the creative space in 2020, everybody being forced to be home kind of affected a lot of people's creativity because they were out of their element. Their home, which might have been their sanctuary, is now their workspace, which makes the creative element harder to do. So there was a lot of issues with creativity.
Yep. And a lot of people became teachers, not only working at home, but teaching at home and doing all these things that are out of their element. Yes.
And then now shifting to 2021, where some people are now going back into work, but for the creative types, now they're struggling with a different aspect of the creativity, or maybe for some, they finally were able to go, hey, now I can create now that my home is again my sanctuary. Where did you kind of fit into that equation?
Who?
Yeah.
Let's go with Joe.
Joe.
Go ahead, Jane.
No, my life didn't change because we went full-time remote in 2020 when we moved up here. So it didn't really affect me at all, especially once I moved. But when I was at home for that, there was a brief period of time in 2020 that it really affected me. Now I'm just like, well, I don't have to wear pants. I like these, these jogging pant things, these like sweats. I know if I had to go back into the office, I might be a little resentful that I had to wear jeans or something more restraining.
Well, I think for me, creative. Yeah, I think for me,
it's a huge issue. Okay,
that's a huge issue. I haven't worn a dress in like 5 years anyway.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
I think creatively for me, I think 2020 was a lot harder because I was dealing with more personal issues, and 2021 I'm still dealing with them, but they were kind of back in my rear view a little bit more. So I was able to kind of have a little bit more drive and a little bit more goal oriented ideas. I think nobody, I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking from, I didn't have as many obstacles and goals to attain to in 2020. 2020 was almost just like survival mode for me. Just get through this, do this and get through it. And 2021, I had more attainable goals and I reached for those and I put some plans into motion and I got to go out again and that fueled my creativity for a little bit. And so, yeah, I think there was a real uptick in how I felt creatively. Did I accomplish as much as I wanted to? No, because again, still residual effects from 2020 and 2019. But I do feel like I took steps forward, and I think that is a lot more than what I could say about 2020.
Okay. Well, let's focus on some of the things you did do in 2021, especially with Go Indie Now, which you run for years, and you pick and choose shows based on seasons when you think they're going to be appropriate, who you can get on, and through 2021, you did add some new shows, and you tried to branch out in different ways. So how did that work for you, and what shows are going to be continuing on through 2022?
Yeah, well, the first and foremost thing that we, Katie and I, what we had been talking about for a long time was the late night news show and getting that off the ground. And we finally just pulled the trigger December 2020 on that. And that I thought was really, really very successful throughout the entire year. And I thought that was something that I was really proud of that we did. I mean, I was even at events and we still did it at times and we worked around each other's schedules and made sure that happened. And we did one every month except for the 1 month we were all off. So we put out 11 shows of that, 11 episodes of that this year, which is really awesome. And then I've actually delegated a little bit more this year. I've had a couple people host This Week in Indies, like literally hosted. I was not there when they were hosting it. They did everything. JD and Courtney both hosted an episode or two of This Week in Indies, and then Anita. I asked Anita to do a show, and she put it together. I let her down this year because I haven't put all the episodes out. She's got all of them done, and I haven't put them all out yet. But I have, put some of them out, and she did that for me. I have other people asking me for show. Well, I guess we'll talk about what's the future holds. But I have other people who are asking me to do shows for 2022, and so I'm talking to them about that. So less of me and a lot more of everybody else. So I think that's kind of the good formula that I like to perform. So there's a lot good coming that way in terms of that. I did have to reevaluate how I produce things and put things out a little bit because things just get crazy. Because I was personally doing other things creatively. I actually taught a class this year in screenwriting on the Speculative Fiction Academy, and I had to put that together. Thank you, Anita. That's very nice of you. That's very kind of you. But and I had to. I have my first book was picked up by Three Furious Press, and I had to get them on board with that. And we're still working on that. We didn't finish it like I had hoped I would be able to do, but we've discovered that there was a lot more issues with it than I thought there was. Moreover, I think this is the one thing that I really discovered about myself that I'm really happy about, actually, is that I learned that I'm a better writer now than I was in 2010 when I wrote the first book, because looking at it, I don't even know that guy that wrote that book, because I'm looking at it and going, I'm literally almost rewriting the whole thing. I mean, that's just how it's going. It's like there is I have literally moved chapters around. I've taken chunks out. I have put new chunks in. I've expanded on things that weren't expanded upon. I've succumbed to the idea that I need dialogue tags, which kind of fucking sucks, but I've succumbed to that a little bit. Those kind of things. And then I started a fantasy series on top of all that. So 2023 might be a really good publishing year for Joe Compton, to be honest, because I've got a lot of stuff out there that is getting ready to be put out. So, 2022 might even have a little bit of taste of that, but I think more likely 2023 is going to be the really good. I might have multiple books for the first time ever in my career. So,
well, that's positive. We'll have to follow up with you on that as we get closer and see if it's actually coming to fruition. Because
Go Indie Now's healthy. It's going to keep going. We're going to do late night news again next year. We're doing This Week in Indies every week, like we've been doing. We're doing. I've already kind of talked to Anita about season 2 of her show. Julia is doing season 3 of her show on Mondays. She's going to be doing that again live. And I've already got people booked for Joe's Bar in January and February. So yeah, all these things are happening and still going. So
for those in the audience that maybe are not aware of what Go Indie Now does, can you just real quick give us a name of a show and maybe your 1-sentence log line for the different shows that you've got, so that it might help people figure out which shows they might want to look at on your channel?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so it starts with This Week in Indies. That's the Sunday live show that we do every Sunday noon Eastern, and that's basically my my response to Meet the Press. But it's kind of like, so we have a group of panelists, mostly authors, most of the time. In fact, 99% of the time it's authors. I would love to have more filmmakers and musicians if they'd like to join us for that, but the discussion usually goes around publishing anyway. So we come up with a topic or relevant news that is happening in that week, and we talk about it. And that's basically how it works. I came up with kind of an interesting format toward the end of the year that I think I'm going to try and stick with a little bit, which is at the beginning of the talking point, we're going to talk about something that's actual news, like just touch on it, something that's really like prevalent that just happened. And then for like 15 or 20 minutes, we'll talk about that. And then we're going to do something fun where we talk about author stuff, something that everybody relates to, that's evergreen, that's you could talk about it anytime you want. And during that show, we have a segment called The Indie Connection, which CL Cannon puts together, which is she takes a book that everybody knows that's very popular or trope or theme and connects 5 indie books to that. So that's basically This Week in Indies. Oh, and then we did something at the beginning of the season this year, which was I gave the last 5 minutes to one of the panelists. So one of the panelists comes on for the last 5 minutes and does whatever they want for 5 minutes. Some of them were reading their books. Some of them were talking about what they're doing outside of writing, whatever. They got the last 5 minutes, and that was that. So that's the format of This Week in Indies. On Mondays, then, we were doing a show called In Progress that Julia Allen hosts. And I was actually co-hosting it. However, the big change, I'll give everybody a scoop here. The big change in 2022 and for season 3 is that Julia is doing it on her own. I will be producing the show behind the scenes, but I will not be on camera for the show. Again, less of me is good. More of her is great. And so she's already got everybody lined up for 2022. Her season 3 is already booked up. She knows what she's talking about. So every first Monday, it's her having a conversation with an artist about what they're doing at the time they're doing it. So in progress, right? It's kind of how they deal with certain elements of the world that they live in. So thank you, Josh. Yes. And then I have another show called Spotlight, which spotlights an actual indie artist and what their artistry is doing. So if they have got a new release or something like that, we talk about that particular product. Usually a lot of that has been a lot of filmmakers jumping on board with that. And I've been talking about the movie that's coming out for them. And we do just a simple one-on-one interview. That's Spotlight. I have some great episodes coming up. I have Brian Tan who's going to talk about Invincible Heart on his episode. I have Michael Evan and JMD Reed talking about their series. I have a couple other movies that I've interviewed already. So Spotlight's going to keep going. That's going to be, we're in season 3 right now, and that'll be going through to the springtime. That show comes up randomly whenever I get them edited. And then I also have we have a new sponsor in the Speculative Fiction Academy, and they have asked me to put the show together. So we're going to put a second season of 3-act structure together. 3-act structure, a show that we take the elements of the structure of story and we discuss them. And this year we're going to take apart the actual elements of character. So season 2 is going to be all about character, your heroes, your antagonists, your companions, your love interests. We're going to talk. Every episode is going to talk about a specific character that goes along with that. And again, that's a panel show where I have 4 or 5 people who want to talk to me, talk about. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have you all on. Anybody out there? I haven't cast for that show yet. That's coming. So yeah, but 3-act structure is happening. That's going to be the big fall show. I will be getting out the rest of Anita's show. I'm trying to get that out before I start my my spring season, but we'll see. And then I also have some Origin episodes that I need to get out. Origins is Anita's show is called Words That Kill, and Anita basically interviews somebody. Jane has been on there.
Yes,
Everybody go check out Jane's episode. It was really fantastic. I really was gorged by that episode. It was amazing. They talked about killing and how to kill, and it was with magic. It was cool. It was really cool. But basically, it's a show that I thought Anita was right up Anita's alley. I pitched it to her, and she jumped on it. And it's basically ways to just mess you up. Mentally, physically, whatever. It's all about the surroundings of horror and killing and everything like that. It's basically
a great topic. Such a fun topic.
It's so rich, and I mean, he's had some incredible guests on there. In fact, the next video I put out is actually her next episode with Christy Stratos, where they're talking about psychological horror, which is really fucking fascinating, and I can't wait to put that out there. It's going to be out here in the next couple of days. I'm working still on it. I'm almost done with it, but that is her show in a nutshell. She just does a one-on-one interview and with people talking about specific elements of killing and horror and of that nature.
Great topic, and she's perfect for it. Absolutely perfect for it.
Absolutely, and she does.
Yeah, Anita, we love you. We know you're out there.
Yeah.
And then I have Joe's Bar, which is another live show that we do the third Friday of every month, and that's just basically 5 of us getting together, getting drunk, and talking shit. That's basically that show. I mean, that's what it is in a nutshell. I mean, we just had a great time last night. Josh, Maddie were on last night, and yeah. And then the second Friday of every month, a certain somebody and I, the one Miss Claus up there, and I. Up there, let's see.
That way, there. Yes, that's right.
Mrs. Claus, Mrs. and I always make fun of Maddie for when she couldn't point down to her thing, but now she can make fun of me because that was really difficult.
Point. You just
whatever.
You have to know which way. Normally, I would use this hand because when I'm looking,
my left is my right. So,
anyway, go on.
Katie and I do a news show. It's basically just a news show. It's basically we talk about news that's going on.
It's only the best news show.
I agree. It's pretty awesome.
We spend a lot of time figuring out what news is actually going to be important to indies. It's not just hey, let's grab headlines. We both sit down and figure out what actually indies are going to be interested in. And Joe, behind the scenes, you and I, we've swapped stories before where it's like, it's a story, but is it really going to make our audience care about it? And we'll cut stories that we don't think are going to actually impact the indie marketplace. We want the stories we put up to actually be something you're interested in.
Yeah, and we go deep, and we do a lot of research for that show and put it together. It takes a lot to put that together, actually. So, I mean, it's a really well thought out show. And And I'm lucky to have the superstar that I have in Katie Solitis. So
I'm just lucky that you were on board for doing it, because I know we've mentioned it for a while, and both were just like, yeah, this would be a great idea, but I don't know. And then it was like, I don't know what happened where we finally just said, you know what, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's been really good. We've done a lot of good stuff. We've shared a lot of good stories. CL Cannon, she's on that one as well with her segment that she always comes up with the best information. I absolutely love that. So, and the audience interaction, that's an element that most news shows don't have. And the ability to bring the audience in and say, hey, what are your thoughts on this story? Gives us a little extra that I don't think any other show has touched on. So I think we've got a great format.
Yeah, so that's basically what's going on at GoIndie now right now. So everybody go check it out. So.
What happened to Joe Gets Twitchy?
Joe hasn't had time to be twitchy. I
was gonna say Joe has plenty to be twitchy about.
Absolutely. I was twitchy this morning, actually, but yes, I just haven't had the opportunity to do it. I want to bring it back too. I just haven't. It just hasn't come together.
It's such a fun concept though, because finding the things and venting about all of the stupidity out there, it's catharsis in a way. And I think you get a lot of people who commiserate with you on it, and that helps feed that community sense when we know that what we're saying is resonating with others.
Yeah, you're right. It's a show I need to bring back for sure. Yeah. I feel it. You could expand. You could expand and invite maybe some other people to get twitchy with you. Yes, well, I did that. You and I did that one episode, so
just keep going with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Twitchy needs to come back for sure. But I also think a lot of the reason why I did Twitchy was to actually get a bigger following on Twitch, and that didn't work out as well as I had hoped. My audience got twitchy and said, "No, we want you on YouTube. What are you doing over there? Don't go over to the evil empire, right? The other side."
That's my next question, because we've touched on this many times. The other video streaming platforms that are out there have audiences as well, and it's hard to decide, where do you put your stuff? Do you share your stuff on multiple platforms? How much time do you devote to each one? And Joe, I know you play around on Twitter, or not Twitter, TikTok. Mm-hmm. You also have an element on Twitch. You've got YouTube. You've got Facebook video. How are you juggling, and which platforms are you thinking are just not worth it at this point?
Well, I think mostly live. I've done all three. I've kept it Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and I haven't chosen one because they've kind of evened out. What my idea was to put them on all three and see which one was more dominant, and then I would focus on that one, right? But it didn't turn out that way. What it turned out to be was like Facebook and YouTube were getting the same audiences, the same amount of audiences. So I'm like, okay, how do I choose then? How do I keep it? Twitch, I don't get hardly any interaction on, and that's really my fault. That it's not nobody else's fault, but because I haven't reached out to the Twitch community, and to get the Twitch community on board, that would be a different thing. It's a whole different animal. Twitch community is so different than any other. Facebook and YouTube kind of mirror one another. They kind of talk to one another. Some people don't like YouTube. Some people don't like Facebook, and some people like both. And sometimes Facebook's better about letting people know about what I'm doing than YouTube. So I probably will not stray from that aspect of it. If I get an opportunity to build Twitch, I would love to do that. I think diversity is so paramount in anything you're doing, in any way you look at it. So I would be willing to do more Twitch-oriented stuff if I can be on Twitch and dedicated to Twitch and do that. But I'm not leaving YouTube. I made that decision about 2 years ago when I decided to leave them, and it didn't work out for me. It was a really huge mistake of mine, and it's not a mistake I will repeat. So YouTube's probably going to be my home. I mean, ultimately, none of these places are going to be the home of GoIndie now. I think this is just a placement for them. I would love to be streaming on our own somewhere else, and streaming like a real television network streams. And I've had conversations with places to do that at. It just hasn't worked out yet. So, but that's the ultimate goal for GoIndie now, is to run a 24/7 network.
That would
But
be so awesome.
would be great. That's the dream. I mean, whether it happens or not, at this point, I'm reserved to whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I mean, life kind of hit me in the face a couple years ago, and so it's kind of like, at this point, I'm working on me, and this is like a renewal of my second life, and so I'm just going to take it and run with it and do what I got to do. So
I think one of the downsides that's working against the GoIndie Now platform being that one unified streaming network is because we're so spread apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we can all go into the office and do, a studio recording.
Right.
But having the ability to do it online has been good because we can do these panel type shows from our own homes.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably going to be going forward. That's probably going to be more common.
Mm-hmm.
And might
Right.
actually give you, that leg up you need to create your unified source
Yeah, could be.
where
I
we
mean,
can stream. But I love your idea. I think it's beautiful. I think, you've put the indie community together. There's a reason we call you the Godfather.
Mhm.
You've put a lot of people in this community together. You link a lot of us.
mhm.
And we all, even though we do our different things, you kind of bring us all together. So creating that one studio, that one, that one channel it'd be such a beautiful dream. I hope that you're able to do that. And I'm on board.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's, like I said, that's the ultimate goal. That's where I aim. That's the goal I have for it. And if it happens, great. If it stays on YouTube forever, then that's the way it's going to be. But,
What about TikTok? Because we laugh. We've been talking about this one for weeks now. And
mhm.
I just don't understand TikTok. But I know you play around on there too.
Yeah, well, TikTok's more of my like fun place, right? It's like,
Joe is the missing link, Rebecca says. He
guess
is.
so. But yeah, it's just more of where I like to have fun. I'm so goal oriented with GoIndie Now that like all my platforms kind of scream GoIndie Now, and it's like the one place where I can just be Joe and have fun with stupid shit and do stupid stuff and talk about stupid stuff, and so I like it for that reason. And so I haven't, I have GoIndie Now stuff on there, and actually the GoIndie, which is funny, which is totally ironic, the GoIndie Now stuff does better than my personal stuff usually, but it's just. Again, it's just another thing that I have to create and put out there, and it's a lot of work. People don't realize how much work it is to market yourself.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that's been the problem with having so many different platforms, and back me up if you're feeling the same way. Same to you out in the audience as well. Having to be on so many different platforms, having to understand so many different platforms, engage in so many different platforms, it feels like a full-time job. And there's only so many hours in the day. And if you have other things you've got to do, you have to sacrifice some for others.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's almost if you are unlucky enough to pick the wrong platform to devote your energy to, then you feel that drain because it feels like a waste of your time. Whereas if you magically pick the right platform to devote your time to, you tend to have a leg up, but there's a lot of element of uncertainty to it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is fleeting too, so if you get TikTok famous, it's like, it's the Andy Warhol thing of 15 minutes of fame. Right. And then you have to keep that up. And then you kind of get into that frame of mind. That's not what I'm about. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in longevity. I'm interested in sustaining something that everybody can feel comfortable going to at all the time that they go into it. And I'm not compromising my value system or what I'm trying to do in doing that. I'm not going to sell myself out for that reason in that respect. So
I should be the one as Santa, but I don't own a Santa hat.
I own one too many. And if you saw my Facebook post the other day, I've never felt less Christmassy in my life.
Then you need to
than I
be
do this
dead.
year. Yeah, wait, bring that up again. I want to see that. Yes.
Yes.
Oh God, that's gorgeous.
If you need the Christmas spirit, read this.
Where can we find it, Jane?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's 99. It's 99 cents
Hopefully.
a book.
I need some Christmas spirit. I need to go out and get that book. I love the cover. That
Yes.
is such a gorgeous cover.
Yeah, Christy, I sent her a copy and she loved it. She thanked me so much for it because she was in a down and out, with everything that's going on. I'm like, and she loved the cover. I said, would you like to read it? And she said, yes. So I sent it to her.
Yeah.
But she had the nicest things to say about it. So,
Oh, good.
You have an incredible cover artist.
yes,
You pick the best covers. You really do.
This one is not my normal cover artist.
Mm.
I found it came across my thing, and I'm like, ooh, I have to have that.
Yeah, you send me covers all the time in private messages, usually to make me tell you no, which, let's face it, I can't do.
Mhm.
See,
And
the brilliance of that though is it looks like a J.E. Taylor book. It's the same
it's on
brand.
brand.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's got a very clear aesthetic when it comes to her books.
I mean, I know when I'm looking at your books without even knowing it's you because I can see
I have a very, I don't know.
Yeah. And there's certain people out there that do that, and it's kind of, I think that's the smartest thing to do. I think it's also kind of why we wanted to rewrite my first book, was to kind of tie the second book a little bit better together to lead into the third book, tying it all up. And so in doing that, you have to rebrand the whole entire thing to do that. So
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
because I had never intended it to be a series. So
well.
But that's part of the growth process.
Yeah, and sometimes it just, the story keeps going on in your head, and you're like, oh well, it is a series now, or at least a duology.
You all can thank Rebecca Jonesy. Rebecca Jonesy is the reason why there's a second book and a third book, because she kept just prodding at me. You got to keep the story going. You got to keep the story going.
She's being a smart ass in the comments. Rebecca says it also helps that her name is on the cover, so you definitely know it's her book.
Yeah, that one, the one above it is the funnier one, though.
And then, of course, Rebecca says cattle prod for the win. She's definitely good at cattle prodding us authors and getting us to write more. So I can see how that's been helpful to you, Joe.
Yes.
And then what did we miss? We missed she's slaying while slaying. It's a fun read. Oh, I love that. I love that. Good job.
But even your fonts are very unique to you, which I think is pretty cool. So
yeah, I do have a say sometimes in the fonts, because sometimes the pre-made is not what I want, and I'm like, oh, I think I like this one, and I know fonts because I have thousands of fonts on my machine, even though I don't make covers. I tried in the beginning and failed miserably. So now I'm like, okay.
To Josh's question, I'll answer it for Rebecca and say that it's more of like a love tap or a bee sting. Yeah.
The cattle prod. Yeah.
It starts as a friendly reminder, and then if it's not, if you don't act on the friendly reminder, it gets a little bit more intense. She says she hasn't properly managed to motivate me. Well, no, because there has been a book this year that I was due to send her that I was dragging my feet on. And I did get motivation and the reminders of my deadline and the threats of cattle prodding. So I did do the work when it was supposed to be done. It's just I haven't been able to work on other projects that don't have hard deadlines. And I think both Jane and Rebecca are trying to figure out ways to properly motivate me on that one.
Yes, because we have a series after that.
I know.
And if I get into other series, it gets put on hold.
Well, what if we just put that book on hold and just jump to the series?
No, because you have to finish that.
God damn it.
See, I'm just as bad. The bitch with the red pen. Yes.
Oh, Lord help me. No, this year for me has seen a transition from focusing on personal writing to focusing on ghost writing. And that and freelance editing has kind of taken up so much of my mental space. I haven't had the chance to work on the things I want to work on. And I haven't figured out that balance between work and personal, because working from home, I don't have a clear delineation between the two. It's been my struggle throughout the years, trying to figure out how I can do that, because I do want to get back to Sage's story. I do want to finish it. It's half written as it is. I should be able to finish it, but I have all of the other obligations on the work side of it that I have to, I have to earn money. I have to put food on the table.
The things that pay the bills
Mm-hmm.
take precedence, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to write something when you don't have electricity to write it with, right?
Well, and creative endeavors take so much mental bandwidth that switching gears is really hard to do. And I know I'm making excuses, and other authors can do it much better than I can. I wish I had that capacity at this point, but I find it struggling to work on one project and then try and jump into something else. I feel like the second project of the day tends to be the one I fail at, and that's usually the personal one.
Mm-hmm.
So I know excuses. I know I'm going to try and figure it out, because I do need to finish that book, and I do want to jump in our series. I'm dying ever since the covers you showed me.
Yes.
Again, she picks the best covers.
Yes.
I want to get into that one, because the minute she showed me the covers, we just started firing off ideas. It was like fireworks, like this, we can do this and this and that and this. The premise almost wrote itself based on the covers.
I still have the notes.
Nice.
But I need her focus, not her thinking, oh, I should be writing this other, I should finish this other book. If you hadn't started it, I might have given you slack, but you started it, Katie, and you have to finish it. That is the first rule. Whether it's crap or not, you have to finish it.
Actually, I thought the first rule was to not talk about the book you're writing. That's that
is one of the first rules. You don't talk about the book that you're thinking of writing, because when you do, you expend some of that creative energy.
You get excited about the next book. Yeah. Well, I'm jumping between books as I write now.
And I'm kind of doing that with the ghostwriting, because I'm ghostwriting a nonfiction and a fiction at the same time. So again, it's that shift between years that's been really problematic and making it hard for me to do anything else. But again, got to pay the bills first.
And I'm sure that once I start getting book notes on that book that I said you're going to be formatting, I'm going to have to switch gears too, because that's a whole different type of writing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had somebody reach out and ask about publishing and if I would help.
Nice.
So,
I would love.
It's a very worthy story. So,
I'm gonna throw an idea out here, and chat can back me up or not. But what I would love to see from J.E. Taylor is a book about writing.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you've written what, 75 books?
61, and then you have a bunch of trilogies thrown in there.
You've been doing it. I mean, I think you would have a really interesting perspective on it, especially like, cover art and things like that. That's something I don't ever see in books about publishing and things like that nature. I think that's it would be really cool to see where your mind works with that kind of thing. So
Wilson and I have thrown that idea around forever. You know Wilson, Jane.
Yes, I do. And I'm like, my secret is not a big secret. I sit down and I write.
But
in the time frame I
have.
But
in chair, write, and a book.
Yeah, very much. But you're right. And when I don't, I don't know. I read fast. I write fast. I might talk fast. I don't know. But there is no magic secret except button, chair, and write. That is my
put that
secret.
On a t-shirt.
Huh?
You need to put that on a t-shirt.
Button, chair, write until it's done.
Yep.
Because I never stop halfway.
Awesome.
Yeah. And if it's crap, it's crap. I'm sorry. I
highly doubt it's crap, but that's.
Thank you. I'm really good at time management, though. I know how to compartmentalize, and I've done that at work too. So at the day job, I can write a business spec twice as fast as anybody else. So
I can relate.
You write twice as fast as anybody I know, anyways.
Some days yes, some days no.
That was one of the biggest fears when we worked on our first project together. That was the biggest fear I had, was that I would not be able to keep up with you when it came to writing that series. And we put that series out really quickly.
Yes, we did.
Like what was it? 3 books in 6 months.
Yes, and we were leveraging each other's strengths.
Yes.
That's why we did it so fast.
But that was my biggest fear. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to keep up. She's going to get mad at me, and, and it's not going to be a good writing relationship. But it did work out. But I was seriously afraid of that, because I know you write way faster than I do.
Okay, sometimes.
And our styles were actually very complementary too.
Yes.
I think the only thing that we argued on was the dog.
The puppy.
That's right. That was the only thing that we argued on, which is surprising, because there's a lot of things that you could easily come into conflict on when you're writing a book together.
Right.
And the only thing.
And I conceded.
I was not giving up. You don't do that.
Actually, you can't say.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No, I'm just sitting here going, have I written a book where nobody dies? No, people die, but it's. I'm just like, oh crap, they did. But I did write a sweet romance.
And somebody dies in that? Wow.
Oh yeah, but it's not.
Somebody always dies.
Yes,
normal.
somebody always dies.
Which is why she was perfect for Anita's show.
Yes. I'm like sitting here going, wait a minute. Yeah, no, they all have death. Some of them might not have sex, but they all have death.
Oh, Rebecca's comment, kill your darlings, but not their pets. Oh, yeah. That one book, Rebecca, and you know which one we're talking about.
Yep.
Oh, every time I got to that point in the story, and there were multiple points in the story where that happened, I went, what the fuck?
Oh, yes. Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
No, never hurt the dog. Never, ever hurt the dog.
But I have.
Evil.
Yes, I have.
That's one of my triggers. That's my throw the book across the room trigger. I think we all have something that we can relate to, but that's mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I've reached mine yet, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's one that makes me. Maybe I'll tell you. I'll tell you the thing that makes me throw a book faster away, or get it disengaged with it is when it's not telling the story, when it just starts to dump info on you, or it kind of goes off the rails, or it becomes so predictable that you're just like, oh. But that's the only time I throw a book out. Is nothing. I don't think anything has offended me or triggers me yet. I don't know. Maybe I haven't come across that yet. So
it sounds like a challenge accepted moment. Find something that triggers Joe. You saved some fictional puppies. Thank God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. I remember every time I got to a point like that in the story, I'm like, why? Why would you do this? And as a beta reader, I'm like putting notes in the sidelines, pleading, please let the animal live. Or don't give the character another animal. Just stop it. You're killing me.
Yeah. I was a beta reader for that book too.
I mean, it was a good story. This story genuinely was a good story, but that was just, it hurts so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, on to something brighter.
I think that was the beginning of 2021.
Stocking stuffer.
Yeah,
there we go.
Go get it, everybody.
I'm shamelessly promoting. I normally don't.
No, please.
Yes, please shamelessly promote something holiday and magical. We need this.
It's your show, for God's sakes. Please.
Yeah, but I normally don't pirate the show.
Well, no. You're good. I'm cool with it.
I got nothing to promote this year.
It's almost Christmas time. People need to get into the seasonal spirit.
How is it already almost Christmas time, though? That's what's
I
like,
know.
I still
like a
don't
blink.
get it. Back to our initial point of the year went by so quickly. This doesn't feel like Christmas at all. And yet it is.
Well, it feels like Christmas now because I think we have six inches of snow out there right now. So I'm like, yay!
I think we're all so busy fighting one another that we haven't taken the time to stop and look around at what's important to us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's that. That's a good point.
Thank you, Josh. Sorry, I just saw Josh's comment. But yeah, no.
At what point are we going to stop fighting? I mean, it seems like every time we get a breather, there's some other news that comes out that just brings the fights back up to the
Stop
surface.
watching the news. You're happier. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. Don't stop watching the goddamn news.
We actually have for quite a while now not watched any news because we just got aggravated, and being aggravated on a daily basis makes you angry.
Yeah.
And life is much better when you're not angry. And you're much kinder and fun.
I agree. It's the news has become so toxic. It doesn't matter what channel you watch or where you get your news from.
It's everywhere.
It's just a constant stream of negativity. And you're right. It weighs down on you. It makes you feel less happy. And then you in turn send that negativity out into the world. So
it also makes you feel alone. It makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel like you almost feel like, is everybody stupid but me? Kind of idea, but it's like, it's crazy. And when you get in your own head, then that's when things get a little,
yeah.
And
Anita says that she did some Christmas reading, so she threw out some holiday spirit into the world. Good.
Good.
I think that's probably the stuff we need to focus on. We need to find
Although
out.
Anita Stewart's holiday spirit in life.
Yes,
we were trying to focus on the positive here.
Okay. We've been watching.
Actually, that's probably better Christmas spirit than let's love each other. Let's kill each other. Let's just fucking off some people. Let's get some people out of here.
I subjected my husband to watch The Witcher. We didn't watch all of them. We've only watched 4 episodes. But yesterday was 2. And then we both, turned off the TV and fell asleep because we were just out of it. And today I started watching one, and I said to my mother-in-law, he doesn't like this fantasy stuff. So he won't. And he comes in and he goes, you started watching without me. Like, well, you don't like this. He goes, well, then we sat down to watch the second one with me. He's waiting for a scene with Jennifer. He wants a scene.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I haven't watched the last 4, so maybe.
I'm debating on if I want to watch it or not. I've been watching The Wheel of Time every week as it comes out. I really enjoyed watching The Wheel of Time. Okay. It is different than the books, but I can see where they made some of the changes and possibly why. Although I'll have to see how they end the season in order to really see if it makes a lot of sense. But I've been enjoying it. It's given me something to look forward to. I usually love binge watching, but having to be forced to wait a week has actually kind of been nice. That lack of instant gratification kind of gives you something to look forward to, which we need things to look forward to right now. So it works.
I'm doing the same with Dexter right now, and I have to say that I really am thinking about how I missed that a little bit in my how, because last year when Cobra Kai was the last thing I binge watched last year, and I did it on the 1st of January last year and watched the entire series that whole entire day, and then have to wait another year for the next one, right? So it's kind of like
too long.
Yeah, and I'm not somebody who goes back and rewatches stuff often. Right. I need a few years gap before I go and rewatch something again. But Dexter came around, and I've been enjoying. I have had my ups and downs with it, but I'm back in it, and I think they're really going in a good direction. So I think every week. There's also another series on Showtime that looks really, really interesting with Christina Ricci called Yellow Jackets that I purposely have stayed away from watching every single week like Dexter, it's doing the weekly thing. I'm gonna actually probably end up binging that one. So, but because I just learned about it about 3 episodes in, and I didn't want to go back and watch the other 2 episodes and then have to move forward. But yeah, so I think if I do the weekly thing, it's better to start from the beginning, and start and be ready for the premiere. But if I don't, it's like me going to a movie theater. If I go to a movie theater and the previews have started, I'm not going into the movie. I'll go out. I'll walk away. I'm that guy that has to be there like a half hour before, get settled in, get ready to go
into it,
and ready to rock and roll. And I've always been that way. And so I'm the same with series. Basically, if I'm watching a weekly thing, that's my time. I'm going to set aside a time. I'm going to be there ready for it to happen and go for it. But that's how I look at it. But
I wanted to pick that back up, but I just didn't. I when is it on? Sunday nights?
Yeah.
So it's on Sunday nights. So you got Sunday night football, and you've got Yellowstone. So and I've started sort of watching Yellowstone, but I want to watch that from the beginning, and because that's pretty good.
And I think with Dexter too, because there's such a time gap, you probably want to go back and watch a few more of the earlier seasons too. But
I
also,
I own it.
Yeah.
I own Dexter, so I'm good.
Yeah, but I think too. With Showtime though, what's good is it's on. Like I could probably watch it right now if I wanted to. I think they post it the day before, so
Like
you can
Showtime
watch
on
it.
the demand.
Yeah, with
I get
you
through.
can do it too. If you
I
go
get
to
through my Prime.
Amazon,
Yeah, that's what I do. I get it through my Prime.
but go to the Amazon UK site. You can watch it a day earlier. Or hours earlier, technically. So if it's the next day in the UK and you go to the UK's Amazon Prime site, you can watch it.
You do some Amazon hacking for
Fridays.
All right, I know we're almost out of time, so I do have one thing I want to talk about, if it's okay with you.
Yes, absolutely.
So, on New Year's Eve, I'm going to be live for Going Now through. We're going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern and go until 3 p.m. Eastern, or 3 p.m. 3 a.m. Not 3 p.m. the next day. God, that would kill me. 3 a.m. Eastern, which is midnight on the West Coast. So we're gonna have the East Coast celebration, the West Coast celebration, and we're gonna go all the way through. I am personally gonna go all the way through. I hope other people join me, but if it's just me, it's just me. Whatever, it is what it is. But at 6 p.m. Eastern on December 31st, Going Out will be live and streaming until the West Coast Happy New Year goes across. So everybody come and check that out and hang out with us. And I've had people say they're going to come and join me, but we'll see. I'm cool, with whatever. So
I'm going to try and be there. That's on my calendar. So as long as the kids should be at their dad's, we'll see. I should be able to make that one, because last year was fun. I was with you last year, and it was a long, fun night of bringing people on, and everybody kind of brought something new to the table, and we celebrated, which was great. And I
got really, really drunk on air. Which will probably happen again. I'm trying to pace myself this year, but we'll see. How it goes. Yeah. I got a little bit lightheaded last night, so and that was just an hour and a half. So, you're probably going to see drunk Joe about midnight Eastern time, probably. Yeah.
I'm still upset.
I think that's.
I'm still upset that I missed drunk review, because I was the one who got too drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, my one chance at being on drunk reviews, and I got too drunk. And apparently I'm a mom no matter when I'm drunk or not, because I cleaned up and put myself to bed without even telling anybody what was going on. I just disappeared.
Oh my gosh.
That was a lot of fun. That was I'm glad we found a movie. It took us a while to find a movie, actually.
We were drinking the whole time we were trying to find the movie, which was part of the problem.
Yeah. We were trying to get ourselves together for it, and and honestly, I don't think we were as drunk as we would hoped to have been for that. I think there was this sense of the idea was, we have to get up and drive the next day, so it was kind of like this dreadful idea.
That was a fun drive the next day.
Spoiler alert, Katie did most of the driving.
Woke up in the morning. Joe had told me it's 3 hours to the airport. Woke up in the morning, looked at the phone, looked at the map, went, it's fucking 6 hours to the airport. What the hell?
Yeah, it happens.
That's funny.
Completely just hung over. 6-hour drive to the airport.
Which airport?
We were in North Carolina. We had to get to Atlanta.
Yes, that's a long ride. It looks small on the map.
It was actually like 4.5.
And you're used to New England.
Katie's exaggerating a little bit. It was like 4.5.
Yeah.
You slept for 2 of those hours.
Thank you.
Still worth it though. Still a great visit.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, so we will make sure to put Go Indie Now's link in the show notes below so that you guys can find it, check out all of his shows, as well as if you're able to on New Year's Eve, come join the fun.
Yep.
And of course, this is our last show of the year. So when we come back, it'll be a brand new year with hopefully brand new guests. If you're interested in being on our show, please send an email to us, SpillingInkShow@gmail.com. Let us know that you're interested in jumping on and we'll try and get you scheduled. We'd love to bring on as many new faces within the publishing realm as we can. And all of our old faces too, welcome you back. You know, you're always welcome to come back and join us, touch base and see where you're at in your publishing journey. But I guess that's it for us this year.
And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, stay safe, and we'll see you in 2022.
Yay.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you next time.